Hey everyone, welcome to 6.5. This video is all about the coordinate plane. Super excited that we're here. We've touched on it a little bit in the past, but here's a dedicated lesson to it, and this is what the coordinate plane is. So let's kind of dive in. All right, so learning about the coordinate plane is arguably one of the most important foundational math lessons we can have. So let's talk about some of the components. So it's formed by the intersection of a horizontal and vertical number lines, or a horizontal number line and a vertical number line, otherwise known as horizontal and vertical number lines. There we go. So we have what we call the x-axis. What we have down here is the y-axis, and so the x runs left to right and the y goes up and down. The way I like to remember that is the x goes left to right like a taxi, okay? And then the y goes up and down because planes like to fly up or down into the air. That might be helpful. Maybe not. Those number lines intersect at a place called the origin. The origin is right there, okay? O-R-I-G-I-N. We'll talk about coordinates more in a second, but his coordinates, or his points, or his location is 0, 0. And then the last part is that it contains 4 quadrants. And we label these with Roman numerals. And the first one is the top right. And that's quadrant 1. We have quadrant 2. Then we go down quadrant 3 and then quadrant 4. So we start up here and go counterclockwise. All right, so let's make sure we're good with graphing points. We're going to graph the ordered pair. So ordered pair is just another way of saying the point, or the ordered pair refers to the 2 coordinates of the point. And we're going to label it A. So where is A located? Well, they say it's at 4, 2. So remember how we have the X and Y, or it's up there, quadrants. When we graph a point, we take care of the X first and then the Y. So in the 4, 2, that is the X, and that right there is the Y. So if I'm going to graph 4, that means I am concerned with left and right movements first. Now, where do I always start? Right in the middle at the origin, and then I'm going to move either left or right, okay? So left or right with X's. Now, right is positive, left is negative. So it's a positive 4, so it must be moving right 4. Now, I don't mark a point yet because I'm not done, and now I need to be concerned with a y of 2. So I've already gone here, and now I need to go either up or down. Okay, up is going to be positive and down is going to be negative 2. And so it's positive 2, so it means up 2. So I've already gone right 4, and now I go up 2. That right there is the point 4, 2, and I'll label him A. To do 2, -5, okay, first thing I do again is go back to the origin and then either move left or right, and that's a positive 2, so I'm going to move right 2. And then it says -5. A negative in the y coordinate means down. So I'm already here, and I'm going to go down 5 to there. Mark my point. That is point B. All right, now what I want you to do is pause the video, and I want you to try this. Fill in the ordered pairs for A, B, and C. Play the video when you're done and see how you do. All right, so this is what I got. -5, 0, -2, -5, and then 3, 7. So if you have any questions, see if you can figure out what happened there. And if you still can't figure it out, that's fine. Just make a note and make sure to bring that question to class. All right, so sometimes when we deal with the coordinate plane, we actually only deal with one quadrant. So what we see here is our y-axis and our x-axis. We can label them if we want. They are kind of coming to the corners right there. So what quadrant are we dealing with here? Well, we also see a positive 1 there and a positive 1 there. So this is actually quadrant number 1 if we wanted to write it. Now, I'm not going to leave it in there because I don't want it to be too messy, but that's okay. Really what's happening is technically this y-axis still goes down and this one still goes that way, and this would be quadrant 2, 3, and 4. But like I said, sometimes we don't need the other quadrants. We just need the one. And so we're going to leave it like that, and we're going to answer some questions. So coordinate planes are a lot of time used to map out areas or represent maps of areas, or represent actual areas, I should say, as a map. So an archaeologist lays out a grid representing a dig site. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to figure out what's the distance from A to B. Now, we could calculate it by saying, well, at point A is at 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2, so it's at 4, 2. And B is over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's at 2, 7. And again, we're talking about going from A to B. This is a vertical distance, and out of the X and Y parts of ordered pairs, X is left to right, and Y is the vertical one. So we're really concerned with the 7 and the 2. And we just ask ourselves, what's the difference between 7 and 2? It is 5, so that's a distance of 5, okay? Now, the other way of doing it is starting here and counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. But what's the area of the grid? Okay, well, let's think. Here's our gridded area, and it's a triangle. Okay, so we know that's base times height divided by 2. And let's see. Well, what's our base? Well, this could be our base. That could also be our base. And honestly, we remember in a triangle, it doesn't matter. Just when you look at the right angle, okay, for a right triangle, it's going to be that or it's going to be that. We just know the base and the height have to be perpendicular. So let's use this as a base, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Times our height, which we already said was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to divide it by 2. Okay, so that's 30 divided by 2, and so our answer is 15, right? Wrong, because we need a label, okay? And they didn't give us any labels, so we would just say 15 units squared. But considering it represents an archaeological dig site, maybe this down here would say meters. And over here would say meters too. And so that'd be 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters, 5, so on and so forth. Now, if it said that, then our label would be 15 meters squared. All right, last one for this video, guys, is I just want you to try this one real quick. Pause the video, play it when you are done. Okay, calculating the distance between 0 and -6. So, or 0, -6, and 0, 5. So where is 0, -6? Remember, that's left to right first, and I'm going left to right 0, so I'm going to stay at the origin and then go down 6. And then left to right 0, and then up 5. So go back here, left to right 0, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now here's the cool thing. Calculating this distance. You can ask yourself, hey, what is the distance? And you could just count it out, right? But I also know I'm going from a 5 to a -6. Okay, what we're actually doing is we're adding the absolute value of the y coordinate. So I'm adding the absolute value of -6 to the absolute value of 5. And what's the absolute value of -6? 6. But the absolute value of 5 is 5, and it's 11 units. Okay, 11 units tall. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. Thank you for sticking with it. I will see you in class.